Welcome back to Breaking the Silence. And this is, of course, In Conversation. And I'm your host, Steve Neal, lifelong experiencer. And on In Conversation with, we have conversations with experiencers and sometimes other people in the field have intense interest in this subject or have been researching it. But overall, it's experiencers. And tonight, I have Daniel Nichols, who is an experiencer going way back, right?
Mm-hmm. My whole life.
Your whole life. And originally, you had a show that I was on with two other gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yep, that's
but now,
correct.
but now you have a new channel, and the channel's called.
Yes, so the channel is the Great Druid, which is my original online channel I started when I initially got into all of this and sharing my stories. And then I have a new podcast called Under the Owl Tree. And so that's
Yeah,
on
that's it.
YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts right now. And the old podcast, if anybody wants to find it, is called Cosmic Convergence. And that was with
That's right.
Christian and John. And we had you on there. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was a while ago. I love
Mhm.
the new name. I love the new look. You know, we they're almost
Appreciate
similar.
that.
The one I have and you have, but mine is a actual three-dimensional set that I generate. I make the wireframes for and everything, and put it together in Blender, and so I can change things all around or do what I want. That's why the cardinal's up there, and then got the stag in the window and stuff. But I can change that stuff all around. But it's interesting how our lighting is very similar.
I noticed that too, and
Yeah,
I love Blender. Blender's a great software too to use for
it is.
being able to customize everything.
But don't underrate
So yeah.
Unreal, because Unreal is a hell of a competitor. In some ways, I like it better. I didn't know you could do
Hmm.
composites in it, but I'm getting way off subject here. So
It's okay.
we have you here to talk about you and your experiences and have a conversation about that. Um, so to bring our audience up to speed, introduce yourself and start with where this all began for you, because I mean that seems like the
Yeah.
most obvious thing to do.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, again, thank you, Steve, for having me on the show. It's great, and it's great
Absolutely.
seeing you again, brother. So, yeah.
You too.
So my story kind of starts. Grew up in Northern California, in a place called Surprise Valley, up in Modoc County, and
Huh.
so my family, we moved there to help with drugs and alcohol on the local Native American reservation. So we were part of a church community, and we were part of helping build a church on the reservation. And then that's kind of where paranormal stuff started happening to me and my family. And yeah, so it was a area. The land was very palpable with that type of energy, and so I had a lot of unanswered questions when I started having these experiences with myself and my family, and kind of that feeling of being watched all the time. It wasn't a negative thing, but it was just, I think, more awareness of that other. And the most poignant memory that me and my family had was it was a large tree kind of beside our farmhouse, and we had an old farmhouse, and it was like a dead tree. And one of the days my parents came out and they were all freaking out, and we all come out, and the tree is full of owls, and they're just watching us, and
Oh
they wouldn't go
wow.
away for days and days. And so that was kind of the first connecting point that I eventually made 3 years ago, when I kind of started getting into this space and becoming more aware of my own connection with the visitors. And yeah, so uh, it was a
How old,
very, yeah, go ahead.
how old were you? Sorry to interrupt, but how old
Hmm.
were you? Just curious.
Oh, I was probably around that time. I probably was around 6, 7,
Hmm.
6 or 7.
Hmm.
I remember going out in the forest a lot and really feeling at home out there. Um, I had a lot of health issues as a kid, so I was alone a lot. But I don't know. I just have this general sense of uh, not feeling alone out there, and since recent events, I've kind of had a few memories of um, it was rainy and there's water dripping off of a side of a ship, and I am small, and I see a looks like a gray, but he has like the blue eyes, like it's very detailed, and he's reaching for me to kind of come with him, and that was one of those kind of this, Steve, the those memories that you've not been aware of, but then they kind of are unlocked at a certain point,
Yeah,
and then you just become, wait, I've had this whole other life with them and I had no idea. And yeah, and so I've not done regression yet. I'm planning on doing that soon, hopefully. The feeling of it is very scary for me, and I know that's with a lot of experiencers of really diving into your childhood with them. um and I want to just give this a cliff note for during this episode. I would love to talk about um, Disclosure Day because it made an impact, and
sure.
I've been hearing that it was for you and in the community that you're connected to, and so I want to talk a
Yeah,
bit more of that later.
yeah.
But yeah, so that was kind of what kicked things off. Yeah.
So do you? Okay, I've always had this sense that the black eyes are not. There's some sort of covering, and that underneath, as I once saw,
Hmm.
um, there's an eye under there. Eyes. I mean, irises, pupil. Um, so when you describe that really uh, caught me. The other thing is too is that I think a lot of us had that same sense. I mean, I spent a lot of time by myself with my grandmothers. Both of them lived in the country, and it was old country and deep woods. And I spent all my time by myself with my dog Bobby, and I felt exactly the same as you. Um,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, and the other thing too is I would joke through my life that I was I love my mom and dad. I love my family. Like it's don't like mix that up. But like there's I always kind of joked of having like another uh, other family almost, and then you kind of become aware of that element in yourself, and that was something that up until really 3 years ago that I had an experience where I kind of realized I was more connected than I thought. It was the David Grush interview actually was really what got me on this train or this rabbit trail of deep diving into the subject. I had had experiences of meditation, past life experiences, stuff like that, but 3 years ago was really when it really kicked off in deep diving the subject and feeling not just a sense of not just it was it was almost a duty. Like I need to share my story, and I need to connect with other experiencers in
yeah,
whatever this is, whatever is happening. I need to get the word out, and I need to be on this journey. And so that was that feeling happened after a channeling event that I experienced. I didn't believe in channeling. Uh, I thought it was all bogus. I'm pretty I try to be skeptical
yeah,
about things online and people's experiences, but it was confirmed by John, who was our fellow co-host on Cosmic Convergence. This was before we started the channel. This was like a few months before,
mhm.
and he confirmed exactly what was going on with me. They came into my body. They started talking through me, and then he said, "Hey, did this happen?" And he described exactly 3 hours after, and I had no interaction with him, and that's kind of really where I felt like there was something deposited in me. It's the best way I can describe it. I got connected with Susie and Jeff and others that had similar. details of connected to the Greys, the Elder, that I found. And yeah, it's just been a really strange and interesting journey. And as we've
Yeah.
done the podcast stuff, it's been synchronicities after synchronicities. And I had here, I'll show you this photo. So I was interviewing a buddy. His name's Anthony. He's had mantis experiences, mantis being experiences. And
Hmm.
I talked to him this Sunday. So last Sunday. And this is what showed up the night before: praying mantis. And I had not seen a praying
Wow.
mantis for
You've never seen one?
about a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
No, I love praying mantises. I love them, but I
Me
hadn't
too.
seen
I've
them for
always
about
been
a year and a half.
fascinated with them. You talk about having to share your story, and that happened to me back in the 90s. That's when I finally
Mhm.
came forward and I went on national television and all that.
Yeah.
But, I used to think it was about letting the public know, hey, this is real and I'm not crazy. But I found out later that's not what it's about at all, at least in my opinion. That the reason we're doing
Hmm.
this is to reach other experiencers. It doesn't matter about the
Yeah.
guy next door that doesn't believe you because he's never going to believe
Hmm.
you or she's never going to believe you. It's going to take time for that. They're going to have to experience something on their own. But in the meantime, the idea is to bring us all together. Um, for
Hmm.
what purpose exactly, I'm not sure, but I don't get a bad vibe about it. And lately, as you're aware of, uh, what we've been doing is bringing us all together.
Yeah. There's a very
This
strong
is
sense of that.
Yeah, it's like something out of a movie, except it's real.
Yeah, I think that's why Disclosure Day hit so hard for experiencers. And when that came out, I was reading through a lot of people and having activations or other experiences of just like really intense for them.
Oh,
And
that's true.
it was directed. I was describing it as an activating movie, like it really was. Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
knows a lot more than he leads on. But but
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
So have you so in the community that you've been building with Breaking the Silence and just your own community of experiencers, have you been feeling that sense like that there's something big that's been happening, and then like it's just, I don't know, like there's this wave that's continuing that we're like following it?
Yeah. The funny thing about Disclosure Day is that my friends I worked with in the motion picture industry who were not experiencers, they all hated it. And most of the people that I know that aren't experiencers hated it. They went as far as to say it's the worst movie he's ever made. Don't go see it. It doesn't make any sense. They use those same old aliens again and again, and they just don't get it. But the people I know that are experiencers, and I went with several of them to a theater that had no one in it but us for the first showing, the first day it came out during the week.
Mhm.
Uh, and for the most of the movie up to the big finale, well, the finale, the big scene, and the big scene is of course the reconstructed house and them going back to their memory of being children and the animals coming in the room and them being brought aboard the craft, which looked like a house. And that was where things got really hard. There was no way I could be stoic. I no way I could hold back my emotions. It was just like something snapped in me. The minute that I saw when she went inside the house and they went inside the house and saw the house, I started tearing up right away because
Yep.
my grandmother's house was like that. Both of them. I grew up in that and I knew that bedroom and I knew all of that. And yeah, that really got me and it really got the people we were with. Um, I didn't bring any Kleenex with me or anything, and I was a mess. It was really, really hard. Um, and yeah,
Yeah.
it felt like some switch got turned on right then and there. And then since then, to answer your question, I've been talking to all the experiencers in our community and people who've been on the show. And pretty much that's all I want to talk about, how that's happened. And myself included, abilities have been switched on that are quite emotionally strong and empathic and telepathic.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, for
I've
real. They're really strong. I don't mean just sort of. I mean, oh my God, what's happening to me?
yeah. Yeah, there was a switch. I've been talking with a few others, including Jeff and stuff, and just like, what's going on? Like, because I traced it
Yeah.
back. I think it was after Disclosure Day. I almost every day, every other day, I've had a precog event. One day I remember I'm getting coffee. I'm like, my boss is gonna ask me what I put in my coffee. Sure enough, 3 hours later, he asked that exact question. Never asked me that before or
You
since.
you sent it to him. He got it. He didn't even know that that's how it happened.
Yeah.
You will if you think about somebody you haven't talked to for a while. I give it 24 hours and they'll call you.
Hmm. Yeah. It's been strange, but no, I had the same experience reaction to that house scene. I was hyperventilating. I was crying. Tears were rolling down my face. I couldn't control it.
I
It
know.
was
I know.
it was a lot.
It's
It was
hard.
a lot. Yeah, it was fear, confusion, but also it was needed. It was important at the same time, and it was also deeply meaningful. And how it ends on listen. I was like,
Yeah.
man.
I felt a real longing, and like you brought
Mhm.
up, it's like your other family because it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. I really do. I mean that face has been with me since I can remember, you know. And the communication with
Yeah.
animals, that's on the
Hmm.
increase too. The animals stop and look me right in the eyes, and I can get that close to a squirrel and on the wall, and it just looks right into my eyes, and it's like we're talking. I used to do that when I was a kid
Hmm.
too, but it's happening again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's different layers slowly being peeled off, and we're becoming into more of an awareness of the other space. And, I'm also involved with, so I'm in Idaho. I'm a assistant state director for Idaho MUFON.
oh,
So we have get-togethers, and we've had uh, a local coffee get-together as well. But we've had a increase of experiencers showing up and people talking, all ages. Um, so that's been great and then really cool. But people are having multiple experiences in our own community, and reports still keep coming in. Anomalous activity, orbs, stuff like that. So it's just been really interesting seeing that data come in as well with the synchronicities. Yeah.
what about you?
Um, well, the as I've been, how this is you tend to be working on the media stuff, and then
Yeah,
you're connecting with others. Synchronicities happen, so that's been normal. It's kind of normalized in my life now, but um,
I'm
it's
talking
just
about at night.
been. Say that again.
I'm talking about at night when you go to sleep at night. What
Mm.
happens?
I've been waking up a lot at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yep, yep.
Actually, that wall right there, I'll usually have a bed that I'll sleep kind of underneath it, and then yeah, I'll just kind of when I feel the need to, I'll come and kind of meditate or sleep in that space, and I've had um, that busy feeling, where you're kind of off doing something. You kind of come back really tired, that feeling. Um, but yeah, it's just been mainly that lately. But there's definitely a more of a sense of there's something important that like everything is heightened a bit, and that we just need to be a little bit more responsive to the goings on. But yeah, and so uh, yeah, and the I've had let's see, I'm trying to think. So there was a while back, it was I think last year sometime we did a CE5
Mm.
with our local group, and I was thinking about them driving out to the location, and then when I got out there, it was 10 minutes or so. But then I kind of felt that eyes on us, looking around, and then I hear an owl hoot. And so we saw stuff out there as well. But that was, that happened back then. And we're trying to get more people out so we can do more sky events and everything and see what happens. But yeah.
We haven't been able to do that much here. I would like to. I mean, I do go out in my own backyard every night, and it's very comfortable out there. And but at night, uh, it's really stepped up lately. And
Hmm.
you know, before I go to bed, I part of me just wants it to stay away so I can get some sleep for a change. Another part of me doesn't want to stop it. Um, but last night was one of those nights. I remember my dreams all the time, and I mean, I can remember them in such incredible detail. Last night, can't remember them. I woke up just beat to death. It's sore, like I my whole abdomen was sore. I just knew. I knew the feeling and the disorientation and the lack of rest. And I know stuff's going on, and I'm not remembering it. At
Hmm.
least not right now. I know I will later. It'll definitely come out, whether it comes out in meditation or just something triggers it during the day, but it comes out and you remember it because that's when you're supposed to. I think this is very metered,
Yeah.
um, but it's on the increase, and it's on the increase physically as well as in the dream time.
Hmm.
um, I thought by this point at age 74 it would start to wind down, but it's not. So that's why I asked, uh,
Hmm.
what's happening to you at night. And I mean, I'm sure you're aware of when you wake up in the morning, whether you remember it or not, you know the feeling that something did happen.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been general sense. It's always vague. I did have a where I woke up. I was dreaming, quote unquote, but I was um, had that feeling to go and meditate, fall asleep. I wake up. I know I'm tethered to my body. It was that weird, kind of grayish, like shadowy, like I can't really make out details, but I could tell I was in that other place. And it was a coworker was crying next to me, um, and so I comforted them. They left, and I had another coworker like he when I could hear him coming up my stairs because we're on the third floor, and then he was all frustrated and kind of settled him down. So I wake up, I text both of them, "Hey, be careful coming to work. Like I had dreams about you guys." And luckily, they don't think I'm too crazy. But they were having stuff happen to them, and so the feeling that I sensed from both of them was spot on. And yeah, it's that extra just everything's extra sensitive right now, which has been fascinating. And of recent, well, I haven't really said that. I've been kind of more meditative on this one. I want to see if more comes, but I had a weird sense of maybe a memory, I don't know, of a mantis leading me down a hallway. He's walking, I'm trying to keep up or something, and it's a mantis being. But speaking of the mantis, Steve, have you had experiences with them?
Only recently, and
Mm.
I've had a sense of it, and I often questioned whether the very very tall gray-like being with the extra huge eyes is not what people have been thinking is mantis. But I did actually come to in a place very much like Susie describes, an amphitheater of some sort, people on
Mm.
stage, and it's like I came to, and they were all like in a trance state or under hypnosis. They were conscious and they were listening to the person on the stage, but I was me, and I was awake, and I'm looking around, and I get this feeling over here, and I turn my head and I look over, and there it is, standing over against the wall at the end of the aisle. And it's looking right at me, and I hear very clearly in my mind, "I know you can see me." And that was it. I went out, and then he came back in meditation, because we have meditation every morning in our we have a room with an altar, and it's Buddhist, and we meditate and we do our yoga. And uh, I was in the meditation, and there he was again, and he took me back to my first day in first grade in school. He wanted me to remember how I
Mm,
felt, uh, and how I felt was like, I'm not one of these beings. What's going on? Why am I in this body? Why am I this person? And um, it was pretty dramatic. It was very emotional. It seems like everything with them gets at deep, strong emotions, and then they tell me that's where your power lies. Um, so yeah, I finally got to see Mantis, and I did a painting of what I saw. So
mm. Yeah, I had a I had it was last year. I'll tell you a Manchester experience that was shared actually. So it was
sure,
uh, so your upcoming guest Jeff Silver. I know him. We're good friends, and we talk
yeah,
often about our
I've known
experiences.
Jeff for quite a while. Yeah,
Yeah. So we were. He sent me a crop circle, and he just sent it to me. I'm doing running errands, and there was a spot in the crop circle that had this writing, and best way. So I'm cruising down on the freeway, just kind of do my thing. I see him send it. I kind of pull up my phone, just looking at, and then all of a sudden, it's hard to describe. It's like it was almost like the writing was like vibrating, and I could feel like the chittering in my back of my mind. It was weird.
yeah,
And it kind of had this like it was like trying to pull me, and I was like, I can't do this right now. So I kind of like snapped myself, and I'm like, okay. So I let Jeff know, like, hey, this experience happened. He replies back, oh, that's strange, I had a similar experience. And and Jeff ended up sharing more. He got revelation on his side about the writing of what it meant. But
wow,
uh, fast for fast forward 24 hours, we're doing our MUFON meeting, and we were doing a CE5 meditation, because this was after the one I had mentioned earlier about the owl hooting. So this was
hmm,
the event after trying to get us kind of more succinct in our meditation. So we're just doing a normal, like, YouTube meditation, breathe through, like take you through, guide you. And this like mantis being goes, right in my face. They get in, they get up really like personal, like in like almost nose to nose. And so I'm like, I'm meditating, and I'm like, I kind of mentally try to push him away, and he comes back and he won't leave. And I'm like, okay. So he shows me, he takes me up in the space, and we go to this planet. It's a red planet. Um, Ecological disaster. Something happened. It's just ripping winds. Everything's just it's chaos. And I'm a light being of some sort with another light being, and we're trying to figure out the ecological issues happening. Um, and the sense of time was in the future, but outside of time, I don't know. It was not in the past. It wasn't right now. It's something, I don't know. It's the mantis and time stuff gets really weird and confusing. But he
yeah,
said the things you're doing now, you've done before, you will do again. Cycles within cycles. And he kind of brings me back into my body, and I kind of get out of the meditation. We finish up, and there was a person there that has had a mantis experiences, and I kind of come up to him and like, hey, I just saw this. This is what I experienced. And he kind of looks at me, and he like smirks, and he's like, you saw him too, huh? And I was like, wait, did he come? And he's like, yeah, he looked like this and he felt like this. I was like, yeah, he did. And so we both saw him at the same time. We, again, we weren't communicating. We were all just in our own personal meditation. And yeah, that was an interesting experience for sure.
So you say red planet. Well, I know you're not talking about the same one, but it's. I know that for myself, I've been as a as a kid, I was shown Mars from space, and Mars seems to be
Mm,
something that they wanted me to look at and know and understand. Like I had some connection with it, and then after I met Whitley Strieber and we became friends back in the early 1990s. Of course, he did. I think it was in the Secret School that he talked about falling towards the surface of Mars as a child. So we had that same thing going on. I find it from other people. It's almost like Mars is a warning. I don't know for sure,
yeah.
but it's just a hunch that there was a civilization there, and the planet was a beautiful planet, and something went terribly wrong there, and we had something to do with it.
Yeah. I
So,
believe
and
that.
I don't know if that's what the mantis was showing you, because that would go against what you were saying, because it wasn't back in time, and that was back in time, Mars.
Yeah. It was a sense of the future slash outside, or maybe another time
Yeah,
stream. I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. The time and everything gets a little wonky. Um,
Do you
but
see
yeah, so
when you wake up in the morning after heavy dreaming? Um, if I'm awake, I'm conscious. If I close my eyes, my God, I see all these symbols, and sometimes I even see the grays. Um,
mm,
like glowing in color and looking right at me. I've seen lettering go across the ceiling. And I close my eyes and I can see it with my eyes closed too. Do you get anything like that?
I haven't gotten symbols, at least yet. I don't see symbols. I do get a general sense of like of what has happened. I
Hmm.
think I feel them more at night, honestly, versus the morning time. If I'm up and I kind of have more of a, mm, uh, that feeling where you're kind of sensing, you can sense them from the corner of that feeling where you're
Yeah,
just out
yeah.
of reach. Yeah, I had one experience happen a while ago. I was in a meditation, and it wasn't. It was deeply impactful. Actually, I was crying heavily, but
It's
I was
always
in my
emotion.
room. It's very emotional. Yeah, and there's this deep sense of connection. Um, I was doing a meditation in my room, and I felt the room shift, like it became heavy, or like that, just that dimensional shift almost. Um, and I locked into like a area of the closet, and I couldn't take my eyes off the area, and I felt in my the best way to kind of describe it, felt it like in my bones, like it was vibrating in my bones, that this was the gray that had injected them in my mom's belly when she was carrying me. Like it was this sense of, she was like my mother gray, it, and I had no idea about her until that moment. Like they had made me forget, and I started crying. I was like, please don't make me forget you, please don't make me forget you, I don't want to forget, I don't want to, like, and I was just begging, like, please don't make me forget my connection with you guys. And so we kind of had this telepathic back and forth, and then I don't remember much after that, but I remember a light in the bathroom because I can see it from my bed. It wasn't a physical orb, but it was like, in Blender how you can have a light source, and you can turn the light source off, but it's refracting off of the wall. It
Hmm.
was like that. So it went from the mirror all the way into the shower, and um, that was really meaningful because I was aware of. I've had interactions with the Greys in. I've had memories of like a caretaker. There was two memories that I've become more aware of. It was I'm in a dark space. I'm younger, and she's looking down at me, and all I see is her eyes, and there's like almost like starlight in her dark eyes,
Oh, wow.
and I am like falling into them. It was so beautiful,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, I know what you're talking
um, hmm and then I had another sense of her, that caretaker, not the Mother Gray, very different. Um, and was, it was so weird. I don't know where to place it, but I'm all of a sudden I'm in a tube, like a liquid tube, like I'm in there, and I put my hand up to the glass. And I'm like I'm freaking out because I'm like all of a sudden in this tube, and she like looks over, and I can vaguely make her out because there's other tubes on the ship or something. We're in orbit somewhere because I could see out of like
about.
vaguely into there was stars. And she walks over and puts her hand up to my hand, and I'm like, just calm me down. Um, and there was four fingers on her hand. Um, yeah, so I have it on my channel. I try to depict it with try to get as close as the feel as possible with
Hmm.
AI generated imagery and sound design. But yeah, those came through really strongly, and those were some of those quote hidden memories that I was unaware of before. Um, yeah.
So you were in the liquid,
Hmm. Yeah.
you were submerged in, but you could breathe it, the liquid. Am
Yes,
I
but
right?
I was freaking out because I was in a container. I'm like, where am I? And
There's been
I was
there's,
panicking. Yeah.
there's been lots of other people that describe that, and also your description of seeing the stars in the eyes. Um, Susan Alloway described that in the Jackrabbit case.
Mm.
I've experienced that, and I've heard other people speak of it too. So it's not uncommon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
as you talk to more experiencers, you're gonna get a lot of uh-huh, mm-hmm, oh yeah, uh-huh. It's something. It really is. I My memory is being brought and placed in my mother as well as a glowing sphere of blue light. Um, and so you can imagine how I felt when I read Susie Hanson's book the first time. That was a very emotional experience because I didn't know Susie that well at all. I think Bob Solis was friends with her and said, "You got to read her book." And I got her book and I read it. And then I had to talk to her. So I reached out to her. But there was so much of what I knew in there, I was so familiar with,
yep.
except she describes her grays as looking differently than what my grays look like. So, and how much of that's based on my own projection and take on it is hard to say. But I do know from the artwork I've done over almost 40 years now of grays, going back that far, people have been in sync with it and said that's what I saw. I mean, almost exactly. So I think
Mm.
there probably are different forms of appearances for them. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but it seems that way.
Hmm.
What
Yeah. I'm
about
sure there's
what
different ones for sure.
what can you describe yours? Have you ever done any art of them or AI generated? Because AI is not
Um,
going to get it right. I mean, you have to kind of
yeah.
do it. You have
You have
to
to
do it.
finesse it.
Yeah, you need to
Yeah.
do a drawing of it and then maybe have it look at that. But
Hmm.
I just be curious. You've seen the grays that I do, so
Hmm. Yeah. It's like angular features, large eyes,
yeah,
larger head, like in the
yeah.
back. Um, I think when it comes to the stuff I've tried to depict, I've been trying to get the motion behind it.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so like for me, it's larger head, larger eyes, and I know that with Jeff and others, there's more of like elongated, like um, I don't have that. I don't remember them having that like much of an angular head, but again, that could just be me not trying to fill the blanks in. Um,
Yeah.
so I would be curious if through regression or other, again with time, if more memories come back. Um, what's been something that you've been able to? Well, has it been something that you've pursued in your own journey of trying to just get more memories back, or has it just been a time thing where they've allowed it back to you in the right time?
Well, I remember right after seeing the film that very evening, we were doing our sound bath with the Tibetan bulls, and I mean, on the big screen on YouTube, no commercials, and this guy plays these bells and they glow and they're just the bowls and they're just beautiful and they just the frequency just gets you in this state. And suddenly I was back in my bedroom. That scene in my movie, but something is there. As far as it gets is I see the being, and the next thing I know, I'm waking up at the foot of my mother's and dad's bed on the rug there. I couldn't remember what happened beyond that point, and they that night, suddenly I was there and she took my hand and pulled me out from underneath the desk and she went up, just right up into the air. And I felt this yank on my arm. And I remember going through the ceiling. I'm feeling this little tug and being up over the top of the flat that we lived in on 47th Avenue and looking down like Peter Pan and going up into the fog and a craft up there. And then they said, you're going to start to remember everything more and more and more.
Mm,
Um, and it was so clear. It's so beautiful. I woke up just bawling. It was just tears running down my eyes. It was so emotional. And I think it was real. I mean, I really do. Have you ever come fully conscious, got up in the middle of the night, went to the kitchen to get water or whatever, like I did, and come face to face with them standing there almost as though you caught it off guard?
I wish. I hope
Well, I had it
I've
happen.
not,
I had
unfortunately.
it happen. It was really something. And I remember what I saw. It was so brief. But there was that second where it just looked at me like, yeah. Well, hopefully that will
Hmm.
happen for you. I hope it happens again. Um, I've seen him in the house when I've been in the bathroom with the door open and it's dimly lit in here, and I see the shadow of one walk by, and that really does a woo through you when that happens. Uh, that's happened more recently. And there's been other weird stuff like my disappearing on Mary, and she couldn't find me anywhere in the house. 2 weeks later, same thing happened to me. I couldn't find her in the house. She was not in
Mm,
bed, and then she was back. Um, it's like they just want you to know that it's real.
yeah, just
They don't
enough.
yeah, well, they don't care if anyone else believes you. That's not the issue.
Yeah,
And
that's
and
not the
I
important
don't
part.
care if anyone else believes me either, because anybody that doesn't have the experience is going to say you're nuts, or you need help, or you have a
Hmm.
great imagination.
Right,
So you
which
haven't.
doesn't which doesn't help
You
because a lot of us are artists and creative people.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but I go back to the way you describe the water coming off the hull of the craft and seeing the being and the color of the eye. That doesn't sound like a dream to me. It just doesn't. You're recalling something that you were conscious for when you saw it, in my opinion. And I always have
Yeah.
to underline that because there's there's a whole bunch of people out there ready to pounce on you the minute you say something the wrong way.
Hmm.
so
Right.
it's the feeling I get that was a real memory for you.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I think the synchronicities do help with kind of, and again, it's never, well, it's meant for us to. I think help live with the experiences. And as we become more aware of ourselves and our connection, I think the synchronicities are designed in that way. But also, when we share our experiences and we are like, it's a cascading effect for others, which go, oh my god, I've had that experience too, and you are well versed in that. Um, I another experience I wanted to share as well. We had a friend, um, or a person here that lives in the same apartment complex, and they had an experience where they were taken out of their house. They couldn't control their body. They walked to this area where it was like desolate, kind of. They were going to be doing construction, and there was a craft sitting in between the house. And this person is not into UFOs or not into aliens. They most they know is about flying saucers.
Yeah.
Um, so they have this craft fly over, does this light pattern, and then like instantly is over our apartment, like 5 feet above our apartment. So they drew it out, um, and then they were aware of a short male with a large head behind them, and then this circle of shadows appeared around them, six, and then they started to well with energy, and then the left figure they said they could sense was a hybrid. I showed them I did my due diligence in investigating this case because obviously it was tied to us, but um, I showed them like a lineup of all the different photos, and they're like that one, and
Huh.
that was a hybrid. So anyway, the energy went into their abdomen, and they were healed of an ailment that they had their whole life. And I checked 3 months later. I checked in every week, and they didn't have any more pain. The other thing too was after that happened, it dissolved. They still saw the craft over our apartment, and they started booking it. And then the craft just like it was going behind a curtain was just gone. And so they called us frantically. It was about 11:30. My kiddos were asleep. We're like, hang on, we'll be over. Like, calm down, because they're like, I need to talk to Daniel. I need to talk to Daniel, because like they knew that I was into this stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we did that. But the funny thing is, we were watching Alien 3 when that was happening. So I was like, oh man, they got a sense of humor for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a local case that we did, and they want to remain anonymous, and so we haven't really shared it a whole lot. But that was a story that was something that happened last year, or 2 years now. So they're in my life, they're in our lives, just in different ways than I would expect. And you're asking about like if you ever had any kind of nightly experiences. I remember one time going up the stairs, and it was just a flash in my head, but my hair stood on the back of my head. So I was going up, I was turning the lights off, and I just had this flash of them coming up the stairs, like to kind of grab me. And like everything was just like that natural response where you're like, something is trying to get, like, that feeling. And I calmed myself down, and I kept going up the stairs, and I was like, okay, I'm not sure if that was me or something, but I had a response to that, and I don't normally do with if there's just something that, like, why would that flash in my mind? I'm just going about my day. So I do think that they're also able to pull us out of time or other, have these
No.
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime they want. I mean, um, I've been talking to a lot of people lately about the fact that when the clock stops and all the sound in your neighborhood and the crickets and cars going down the road and everything goes so quiet, you could hear a pin drop. I really feel that somehow they're stopping or suspending time.
Hmm.
And what's interesting about it is if you're gone for a certain, if within that period that experience happens, it's still a measurement of time somehow, because when you when you come back, you know, there's that time that's missing, but yet that time is also suspended. So it's really, your head could explode thinking about this stuff, you know. But every time that I've been fully conscious and an experience started, and I've had even someone with me, someone who was not an experiencer, who thinks UFOs are a joke, even, um, and then saw a craft with me when they were watching it happen and it was close by us. You couldn't hear anything. And I remember talking to my friend, listen how quiet it is, you know? It's like before that was wind, crickets, dogs barking far away because we were up in the mountains and the cabins over there. And everything stopped while this big sphere was watching us and it shined this little light at us. He never remembered it. After a couple of weeks, he completely forgot about it, that it ever happened, and swears he
Mhm.
has no memory of it. Funny thing about it is when we both got back from the astronomy trip the next day, um, my late wife remembers him talking about it. A couple of weeks later, he doesn't remember talking about it.
Yep.
And that's not
Yeah,
the only
it's
time
interesting
that's
how that
happened.
goes.
Yeah, it is
Mm.
really interesting. They control the situation. They're very selective. They can stop time.
Mhm.
They can. God, I've been in the support groups back in the '90s for a long time, and one of the ones that really got me was this man that I knew in the group talking about how he looked out his window and he could see the end of the street, and there's a street going by and the cars are going by, but yet there's these craft in the street, and the streets all turn dark, and they're taking people out the front doors of their homes in their night clothes and walking them out to these cylinders and putting them in them, and then they came for him and then they take off. And I knew all about those cylinders. um, so they're doing this right in front of everybody and they can't even see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the what is it called? The Oz effect. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's they have
Yeah,
definite control over time and space, that's for sure.
they do. Oh, and I forgot about that. The one I just told you about when we went out and the feeling was weird out there because it was within 15 minutes of that happening to them. We went out and investigated, and the air was strange. It was palpable. It was like electric. It was weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It was alive, and
Do you smell ozone?
I don't remember smelling anything. We did see
Do you
a
know what
police
ozone
drone
smells like?
around that time, though. Mm-mm.
Huh, a police drone?
Yeah, my partner, she noticed it. I forgot about it too. She's like, "Yeah, there was a police drone flying around like around that time." I was like, "Oh, I forgot." Um, but when we went
Huh.
out there, went to the exact spot where she was telling us, or they were telling us, and
Mhm.
um, after they finished up the audio recording, I hit like I hit it, and we're about to leave, and a praying mantis flies in between all of us and off.
Huh.
That was so me and my partner look at each other. We're like, oh, they're still here. They're watching. So yeah.
Wow. Daniel, before we close,
Mhm.
because our hour is almost there, I wanted to give you opportunity to share with us anything else that you might have overlooked or have been wanting to share with the audience, especially our audience is experiencers. And I don't know if there's something that you'd like to say to them, but this would be a good time to do it.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, listen to those quiet moments that you're experiencing, and be sure to write as much down as possible. Don't forget it. Um, I have a bad memory. I've forgot some things, and just try to keep log of everything you can, and know that you're not alone. You know, there's this wonderful channel, Breaking the Silence. You know, Steve has this huge community of people and experiencers. I know we're all trying to piece things together, and that's the same mission I have for my podcast. I'm wanting to build is just connecting with other experiencers as well, and it's really important that we come together. And just because we have discrepancies or differences with each other's stories or experiences does not mean that we should poke at each other or fight. Like, it's important that we are cohesive in showing each other empathy and love and patience as
Hmm.
the visitors are trying to help us in this very turbulent time in the world.
Yes.
And I think it's extremely important that we stay focused in that regard to what is going to be happening. And I don't know what that means, but it's just a feeling. And I think we all feel something in that regard. And yeah, like, and I also wanted to say this for you, Steve, as well. You mentioned something about empathy. I was told a long time ago when I did psychic stuff, kind of middle, my early 20s. I was told by somebody that empathy is your superpower and don't lose it.
Yeah.
So it's important that we stay in that flow and that love and staying curious and hungry for experiencing this human experience with them.
Hmm.
And even though it can be lonely at times, that we're all there for each other, and that, yeah, we're not alone. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. I get this real strong feeling that as you're talking about that they think that we've been alone long enough, that we've endured that, and that's why it's one of the reasons that we're all starting to come together now. And it's really beautiful. It really is. And
Mhm.
you know, yeah, you're right. People have seen different things and they feel differently about certain aspects of their experience, but we're all getting along very, very well, which sets a really good example for the rest of the human race, I hope. And maybe that's a big part of why this is all going on. So if if people want to get hold of you, Daniel, how do they do that? Did you put together a website since you're tech savvy? Um,
Not yet. So I have my
you got
YouTube
to get your website
channel.
going.
I
Yeah.
know, I know. It's on the
Well,
list of
because
things.
it's hard to put up a YouTube link because it's so long,
Right. Yeah.
But
If
I
you let's look under, yeah, if you look up the Gray Druid on YouTube, my channel should pull up, and then
right.
or under the owl tree, you can find that in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Um,
Okay.
and then that is going to be where my podcast is. And then if you want to reach out to me, want to interview or come on the show, you can always look into under the owl tree at protonmail.com. You can reach out to me personally there. I'd love to talk with anyone that wants to come on.
Do me a favor and email me anything you have so I can include it in the edit, and I can also put it in the description, and I can also put up some links during the conversation, and that goes for any representation of things that you've been talking about during the show, so I can share those with people if you can. So,
Cool.
and
Appreciate
yeah,
it, Steve.
check out Daniel and check out his podcast and reach out to him because he's trying to uh, connect with all of you, and you'll want to connect with Daniel as I've done, as you did initially. So, and it's just it's happening. It's a happening thing. Daniel, thanks
Yeah.
so much for being on our show. We'll have to be sure and have you back again. And if there's any way we can help you with your endeavors, please let us know. We're here for you.
I appreciate it, Steve. And same to you. Whatever you need help with, just let me know. I do post-production work and stuff like that. So I've, I love
And
all that stuff.
Blender.
And
Okay.
mhm. Yep. Yep.
All
Cinema
right,
4D and
Daniel.
Blender for sure. So anyway, appreciate it, Steve. Thank you so much.